Aquarius.
Forecast for 2017, and you'll have to forgive me being a little nasal. Just came out of a deep cold. That's why I'm a little delayed in getting these videos up. However, though, we're following two clusters now that are showing up in your chart. And the two main areas for you here in March will be your second house for money, income, which is great, yay. And secondly, it's the third house for communication, short distance travel, and just being very busy, being out and about, getting things done, and so forth. So let's talk about the second house. Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune is here. Neptune is there for the long haul, but the Sun and Mercury will bring about you getting all your ducks in a row, focusing on the money that you are bringing in, but there might also be more money going out due to certain things. So it being in the sign of Pisces, it's a creative time for you to think upon these matters. How can you bring in new ways, for example, right? You might find yourself communicating a whole lot more about this as well this month because of Venus and Mars, which is in that third house. You got the new moon there and you got Uranus there. So expect changes. This is a month of a lot of activity and action. And of course, Venus will be retrograding this month. All right, so we want to keep that in mind. Venus will retrograde between March 4th through that of April 15th. So it's not a good time to actually go and get anything, plastic surgery done, Botox, that kind of thing, tattoos and so forth, anything of enhancing something that you perceive as wanting to be of beauty, well, that can backfire under this time. We always want a very healthy Venus to move forward when we're looking for long-term type of surgeries, any surgeries, in fact. Mars is there too, and being in the sign of Aries, of which it rules, really puts you on target with the goals that you have. You'll see that you're more feisty, more full of fire, boosting all these energies towards the goals that you have. And if you should have any presentations, think about this being the third house of communication. If you have presentations to do in March, what a grand time for you to do it, especially until Mars moves out of Aries into Taurus. That won't be before March 10th. So the first 10 days, you'll see that activity being especially potent with you. Now, Mars visits this area once every 2 years, so it's a great time to catch up with siblings, maybe them living at distance, right? There might be more communication with them, and there might be plans of catching up, meeting, having reunions, and so forth. In that case, it's beautimous. We really want to look at that. But these planets will also be catching up with Uranus, which always holds the power of change for you, and so Uranus might bring a couple of unexpected situations here this month, but especially more so as we get into next month when Venus catches up with it as well. That new moon, Aquarius, will be on the 27th. This is when we place our intentions. What is it we want? How can we refine this area, which has to do with travel? Maybe those intentions should be that you would like to travel more, or just at least get out for the weekend. We're not talking long distance, that's more the ninth house, but just to get out of the house, like a weekend getaway. Hit the road, Jack, right? Have some fun and disperse your energies. Why? Because we find such a beautiful source of renewal once we break away from that day-to-day routine and fill it with inspiration. You'll have to forgive me, my eyes are still dripping. So, yeah, Jupiter is retrograde. Jupiter is in your ninth house more for a long run to end of summer. When it retrogrades, which it will until June 10th, and it retrograded February 6th, you might be looking at things slowing down in this area for maybe getting a visa, green card. If you're waiting to get something published, well, that might cause a delay. especially since Jupiter is in your ninth house. It rules that house, so it kind of has like a double whammy effect to it, right? So be patient though. We always want to think that the retrogrades are here for us, working for us. We might not get that ultimate outcome of what we wish, soon enough due to delay, but delays sometimes work out in the long run, and we can only see that in the aftermath. But these two clusters, money, income, expenses that you might have, things that you might go out now and want to purchase, you might be very shop happy, right, right now. And this area of the third house of communication and siblings, well, you might want to listen to your moon and rising sign reading this month because these two main clusters, they will show up elsewhere in your chart, and you will see how they're going to focus and bring out more for you this month as well. But you're starting off top of the month, March, with the Sun and Neptune, which is you holding your vision very, very clear. And it's a spiritual energy. It's a very creative, artistic type energy as well. So you might just come upon a beautiful thought, and I want you to hang on to that thought, because already there on the 4th, you might see how you're going to be expressing it, sharing it, and get feedback upon it as well. And both of these are conjunctions, so it's really opening up a new, actually, solar cycle, meaning an annual new cycle for how this can come into play, and it directly ties into your income sector, okay, because that's where Neptune is found. On the 3rd, I want to talk about this aspect because it's Jupiter and Uranus. They're opposing one another. Jupiter is what we believe. It's our truth, what we feel is truth. But it's opposing Uranus, which could be a little rebellious. Now look at all the demonstrations that we're seeing. People are expressing themselves. You might be expressing yourself. But under this aspect, and since Jupiter is retrograde, it's going to delay this. If not, it would only be like a couple of weeks and it would be all over and done with. But since it's retrograding, Jupiter is not going to go direct before that of June 10th. So it's going to linger for a while. And once it turns direct, it's going to take time to kind of come back to this very degree that we see here in March. So I'm thinking sometime way out in July, we'll see a lot of these headline news where people are opposing one another, throwing a little bit back and forth politically. And it's global because it's not just in your chart or mine. This is a global aspect. And so we can see how things might shake and rattle a little bit. So I'm thinking the most important thing we can all agree upon is to agree to disagree. Make room. That it's okay that some people think differently than what we do. We don't have to argue about it. Make room for it. And I think that can make it that much easier to get through. On the 5th, I'm seeing that a project that you're working on is really going to bear fruit. You're locking something in on the 5th. This is Saturn coming in to support you. Your Saturn's in the 11th house for groups and organizations. It's also the area of friendships, acquaintances, and so forth. So whatever it is you're doing right now, you're being heard. And it is from something that you're bringing forward. So I'm feeling this lock-in energy is something that has longevity to it. So this is a great day on the 5th. The 7th through the 9th, it's all about your communication. It's the Sun and Mercury. Not only are they conjunct on the 7th, meaning that you're so at one with what you're thinking and what you're saying, but it's the way you're saying, it's the way you're sharing. That is Mercury and Pluto on the 8th, which has very in-depth, profound meanings and intentions. And I see how you have a great way of presenting it, bringing it forward. Don't be shy. Don't hold back, Aquarius. This is your time to bring these things forward, and I think other people can actually harvest from what it is that you're sharing. Now on the 10th, this is when Mars moves out of feisty Aries into Taurus. So it's going to be more grounded, more solid, and it's the area of your 4th house, which has to do with your home, your family, your foundation, real estate. Maybe some of you are going to even be focusing on wanting to purchase a new home. This is a great time to do so because Mars is behind you, pushing you in that direction. If you're needing to refinance, well, that works out really well too. Mars can be very helpful in this aspect to get things up and running quickly. Between the 12th and the 17th is the only actual downtime, if we can call it that, for March. This is because we have both the Sun and Mercury, which is you, the Sun, Mercury, your thoughts or your communication. It's up against the wall of Saturn, which could be the externalized, should I say, karmic watcher, right? Saturn can hold things back. Think about the rings that Saturn has. It could be a little cold, it could be a little cynical, it could be a little tough to work with whenever we have squares or oppositions, because it's going to want to test you, challenge you. And since Mars now is so much, in the go, coming out of Aries with all that energy and now really wanting to secure things through the energy of Taurus, it could feel a little frustrating if something is going to say you got to wait or you're on hold or whatnot. So a little patience goes a long way on these 5 days, but then you'll start seeing action kick back in. On the 20th, we have the Sun moving into the sign of Aries. That will help to bring things up to speed again. You're going to feel quite energetic, Aries. The Sun moving into your third house, this is where Venus and Mars was, and Uranus is still there. So this is you're going to be out and about. There's a lot of short distance travel or just out and about shopping. Sometimes we're just more busy doing those things than at other times. This is the time for you to do so. We have the Sun and Venus conjunct. That is our romantic night of the month. For those of you who are in a relationship, it's very sweet. Circle that in on your calendar. This is on the 25th. For those of you who are single, don't sit at home. Be out and about. You're radiant and you're really warm and giving. So it's coming off that way. Beautifully attractive. On the 26th, some unexpected news may be coming up for you. This could be from perhaps one of your siblings. It could be one of the partners that you work with. The 27th, another romantic night. This is Mars and Neptune doing the dance, and we know that's passion and it's tying into your dreams, your hopes, and so forth. It's also very artistic energy too. So if you're a musician or painter, sculptor, you can make beautiful, imaginable things here on this date. So circle that on your calendar as well. 27th, not only is it a romantic evening or day, but the new moon is found here, and this is firing up, adding to this Mars-Neptune. So it is a day we place our intentions, so I can only imagine that your intentions will be all about focusing on, God, this is such a great day, I want more of it in my oncoming days, right? So you want to capture those energies, place it in your subconsciousness, and project it into the future. You won't have this again for a whole year, another year before the new moon is in this area. And then next year you may not have the Mars-Neptune powering up that way. So this is a special one. Therefore, do listen to your moon and rising sign to see where this new moon will fall in your other two charts, because that can also show you the potential of dreams coming into manifestation for you. So we have the end of the month. There is a choice or maybe a decision that's going to be quite important, Aquarius. You want to look at that. It's good though, because it's what you've been working on earlier in the month may now come together in a type of an agreement. Okay, so it's not just a choice. You've already been working the choices. Now it's more finding the glue stuff which will keep them together. Whatever agreement you have, it's going to be great. Now, this is Mercury and Saturn in your 11th house, so capturing something there either in social media or groups of friends or an acquaintance, you and your communication, bringing that together, you might just find a great agreement. On the 30th, Jupiter and Pluto will square, and that is a little bit to consider. And it is of concern. Jupiter wants truth, and it powers through in what it believes, and when it believes something, it's just going to go straight. Jupiter is retrograde, so it's bringing up things from the past as well, and Pluto's over here squaring it, and Pluto's such a powerhouse, and if Pluto's well aspected with Jupiter, boy, can that give birth to wonderful things. But when it's squared, we're up against some resistance, where something isn't really in agreement with us. Now, on a national or even global basis, especially because that Jupiter is also opposing that Uranus earlier in the month, we might see or hear of situations, headline news and whatnot. So the thing is, peace comes from within. We have to focus on what works for us individually so we can align our heart chakra with those higher, beautiful belief systems that we have, and then carry the light, and then hope for the best out there, right? But this is what we have for March. Aquarius, I'll see you in April, and have a good one now.